Hello, dear students. In the previous class, we have seen and we have learned the characters from fifth lesson, that is a sunny morning. We have been introduced to the four characters, that is Donna Laura and her maid Petra. Second main character, that is Don Gonzalo and his servant Junito. In the previous class, we have learned till this second character, that Don Gonzalo, searches everywhere in the park to have his own bench, a separate bench. As he fails, he comes and sits with Donna Laura, even though he was angry and even she was angry to share the bench with him. As because the incident happened, accidentally this Gonzalo scares away the birds who were feeding on Laura's crumbs, breadcrumbs. So she was angry and even he was furious with her sharp words, with her critical words, with her those sharp words. This man, that is Gonzalo, was not interested to share the bench with that lady, that is Donna Laura. Let us continue the left part. In the previous class, we have learned that Don Gonzalo, instead of showing his respect to Donna Laura, he just touches his hat as he sits on the bench. Again, that was a mistake from Gonzalo's side, Gonzalo's part. Now, let us see how Laura, this handsome lady, will react to his action. As he touches his hat, he wished her good morning. For that, Laura replies, "What? You here again?" She is surprised. She is not responding to his wish, his greeting. Instead of that, she is asking him, "What? You're here again?" She is surprised. "Have you come here again? Why you have come here again?" She is asking him. Gonzalo, I repeat that we have not met. Again, very politely, Gonzalo is responding to her question. I repeat that we have not met, madam. Keep in your mind, we are unknown to each other. You are reacting to me as if we well know to each other. So he said again that we have not met. Now ಇಬ್ರಲ್ಲೂ ಪರಿಚಯ ಇಲ್ಲ ನೆನಪಿರ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ದ. Laura, I was responding to your salute. That the thing, she's so keen in observing everything, and she's so keen from the beginning, that conversation between Gonzalo and Junito, she was listening to them and she was observing where he will go and where he may get a seat, whether he will get or not. As he didn't get seat for himself, she thinks that he deserved that because he scared away the birds, so he deserves not to get a seat for himself. Again, she is making him to realize, I was responding to your salute. That only he touched his hat, not he took it off. So she is telling him, I was responding to your salute. Gonzalo says, good morning should be answered by good morning, and that is all you should have said. Good morning should be answered by a good morning. That means if somebody wishes to you, you have to greet them back. ನೀವು ಯಾರೇ ವಿಶ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನೇ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಹೊರತು instead of that you should not do or you should not ask anything. That is all you should have said. For this, Laura answers, you should have asked permission to sit on this bench, which is mine. From the beginning, from the very previous dialogue from Laura, we have observed how much she has attached to that bench and the park and to the birds. Here she is mentioning he would have asked permission before sitting there on the bench which belongs to her. ನನಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಂತ ಬೆಂಚ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೂಡಕ್ ನೀ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಕೇಳದ ಅಂತಂದು ಗೋನ್ಸಾಲ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಳೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಗೋನ್ಸಾಲೋ, the benches here are public property. The same dialogue here he is mentioning. It is a public property, madam. Here I don't need to ask anyone's permission. Public property ಒಳಗೆ ಕೂಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಯಾರನ್ನು ಕೇಳಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ದ. For this, Laura replies, why you said the one the priest have was yours. She is handsome, she is clever. So she mentions here the words as Gonzalo said previously. As he said, the benches the priest have was his. A priest kuttanta bench tandu antanda avನೇನು ದುಡಿಟೋ ಹತ್ರ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, the same dialogue she repeats here. For that, Gonzalo, very well, very well. I have nothing more to say. That means by these dialogues, Gonzalo understood. He realized that she is very clever and she is observing very well from the beginning, and she knows every dialogue, every conversation between him and Junito. So he makes himself stop there. And between his teeth means he murmurs. He says to himself, senile old lady. Senile means according to age, our mental status will change. But for this old lady, that is Donna Laura, we have been described in the beginning, in the background, that her mental faculty is unimpaired. So here, for himself, Gonzalo is mentioning her as senile old lady. That means she is so irritated by her age. She ought to be at home knitting and counting her beads. So here, as this lady is old enough, she is of 70 years, so that Gonzalo mentions that she ought to be at home knitting. Knitting means knitting your sweaters and all. ಹೆಣಗೆ ಹಾಕೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನೇ. She would have been doing there at home knitting or counting her beads. Counting the bead means while doing prayers they do count the beads. She would have done something rather than sitting here in the park and arguing with the man who is unknown to her. ಪರಿಚಯ ಇಲ್ಲದವ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಆರ್ಗ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಬೆಟರ್ ಮನೆಯೊಳಗಿರ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು ಈ ಲೇಡಿ ಅಂತಂದು ಅನ್ಕೋತಾನೆ. That means he speaks to himself, murmurs between his teeth. For this, Laura, she's so clever. Don't grumble anymore. I'm not going to leave just to please you. She makes him clear. Don't grumble anymore. Don't murmur anymore. Don't grumble anymore. I'm not going to leave just to please you. I'm not going to leave means here I'm not going to leave the park or this bench only to make you happy. For this, Gonzalo, without responding to her words, because already he understood she is making him so irritated. So he avoids arguing with her, he avoids answering to her, and he starts doing his own job there in the park. At that time, brushing the dust from his shoes with his handkerchief. The action was going on in the play. ಏನ್ ನಡಿಲಿಕತ್ತಿತ್ತು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ Gonzalo and Laura, they were sitting on a bench, and Gonzalo, he was brushing the dust from his shoes with his handkerchief. ಆ handkerchief ಇಂದ ತನ್ನ shoes ಅನ್ನ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ. While cleaning his shoes, if the ground were sprinkled a little, it would be an improvement. He speaks to himself. If the ground were sprinkled a little, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀರ್ ಹಾಕುದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಅದು ನೀರು ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೀರ್ ಇದ್ದೇ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ it would be an improvement for the park, because we all know Gonzalo drags somewhat his feet as he walks. So while dragging, it is natural to be dusted his shoes. ಅವನ ಶೂಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಡಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು, ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಆಗಿತ್ತು. ಅವನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದ, he was dusting his shoes with his own handkerchief. For this action, for these words, Laura very quickly responds. Laura's dialogue is here. Do you use handkerchief as a shoe brush? She's surprised to see. Laura is surprised to see Gonzalo using his handkerchief to dust his shoes. So suddenly she asked Dad, do you use your handkerchief as shoe brush? Gonzalo replies, why not? That means, why should not I use my handkerchief to dust my shoes? So Laura questions him again. Do you use a shoe brush as a handkerchief? It is very sarcasm here. Very ironically, she asks Gonzalo, if you can use your handkerchief as a shoe brush, that means shoe brush can be used as a handkerchief for you. This was much irritated to Gonzalo. Gonzalo, what right you have to criticize my actions? He was angry now. So he asks directly to this Laura, what right you have to criticize my actions? Do you have any right? How can you criticize my actions? How can you criticize me on my actions? Laura, a neighbor's right. She replies, she had a neighbor's right. Here, neighbors means not as if they are staying in an area and they have the houses in between. That doesn't mean here neighbors. Here neighbors means, a neighbor means here they were sharing a bench. They were sitting on a bench side by side, beside. So she calls it a neighbor's right. Here, Gonzalo replies, don't replies to Laura's criticism. ಅವಳು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಇವನೇನು ಉತ್ತರ ಕೊಡದೇನೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ Gonzalo, Junito, my book. I don't care to listen to nonsense. He's angry now. So he says, I'm not interested to listen to nonsensical things anymore. Give me my book. I'd like to read. He says to Junito, Laura, yeah, you are very polite. Here, you should remember one thing. When Laura was asked Gonzalo to care for the birds, accidentally he scares away the birds. But when he was being asked to care for the birds, he says that, why should I do not care for any more. ನಾ ಅವುಗಳಿಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ನಾ ಕೇರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇವ್ನು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಯಾವಾಗ ಆ ಗೊಂಜಾಲೋ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ, ಫಾರ್ her words, for her criticism, he mentions as Laura nonsense. Laura ಅವನ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನ್ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬೈತಾನೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಾಗ ಅವಳು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾಳೆ, ha, you are very polite. Yes, if I am nonsense, yes, of course, you are so polite. You are a polite man. ಅಂತಂದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಳೆ. For this Gonzalo, pardon me, Senora. Pardon me, excuse me, Senora, but never interfere with what does not concern to you. He makes himself clear to Laura that not to interfere with what does not concern to you, what does not matter to her. That means whatever Gonzalo was doing there, making there, that doesn't mean to be criticized by Laura. Then Laura, I generally say what I think. She makes a generalized statement that whenever she feels about something, she usually interested to tell that. She usually interested to share it, tell that. So she said that I generally say what I think. And more to the same effect. Gonzalo, for this, he replies, Gonzalo said, and more to the same effect. And more to the same effect means here it is evident from the beginning whatever the actions were done by Gonzalo that were being criticized by Laura, even though she don't know Gonzalo or Juneto or they don't know each other. ಒಬ್ರಿಗೊಬ್ರು ಪರಿಚಯ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಮೊದ್ಲಿನಿಂದನೂ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ Laura, she was criticizing the actions of this Gonzalo. So he says that, and more to the same effect means I can see you are very straightforward. I can see you do say what you think usually. I can understand. Give me the book, Junito. Again, he asks Junito to give his book. That means he is ignoring Gonzalo. Gonzalo is ignoring Laura. That means he is not interested to continue the conversation anymore. Here, Junito. Here, Senor. Here, sir. Junito takes a book from his pocket, hands it to Don Gonzalo. The scene is going on. Junito takes a small book from his pocket and gives it to Gonzalo, then exits by right. He exits from the scene there. Gonzalo, as he has the book, now he will start reading the book. Go Don Gonzalo, casting indigent glances at Donna Laura, glances at Donna Laura, indigent glances by the response, by the criticisms of this Laura. Gonzalo is angry now. He is glancing Laura angrily. He puts on an enormous pair of glasses. He puts on his spectacles and takes from his pocket a reading glass too. At first, he puts his spectacles, then he takes a reading glass from his pocket. Reading glass means magnifying glass, magnifying glass to make the words too clear. ಅದನ್ನ ಇನ್ನೊಂಚೂರು ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕೆ ಅವನು ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನಿಫೈಯಿಂಗ್ ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನಲ್ಲೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ ಗ್ಲಾಸ್. Adjusts both. He adjusts both means the reading glass as well as his spectacles and the book. Everything is being adjusted now, both to suit him, and opens his book. He opens the book and he would like to read now by ignore these nonsensical comments on his actions by Laura. Laura again, she starts commenting. As she is clear, she said as generally she do say what she think. ಏನ್ ಅನ್ಸಿದ್ ಹೇಳುವಂತ habit ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾರಾಗಿತ್ತು. Suddenly she started commenting on Gonzalo even though he is not interested. Donna Laura, I thought you were taking out a telescope. It is a sarcasm again. You can understand how ironically she is mentioning on his using spectacles and reading glass and making it suitable for himself. She said, I thought you were taking out a telescope. You all know telescope is not used for reading. Telescope ನಾವು ಯಾರು ಬಳಸಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತದ. Again she comments on Gonzalo and now he is angry. Was that you? Was that you means? Do you have your mind? Do you know? I am clear that we don't know each other. You are commenting on me continuously. Was that you? Again you started commenting on me even though I am not interested to continue. For this Laura replies, your side must be keen. Ignoring his surprised words, Laura continues to comment on his spectacles and reading glasses. She said again, your sight must be keen. You should remember here, both of them, that is Donna Laura and Gonzalo, both of them are of same age. They are of 70. So she mentions here, your sight must be keen, clear. must be keen, sharp, very well. ನಿನ್ ಕಣ್ಣು ಚಲೋ ಇರ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಳೆ ಇವಳು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಳೆ. ಗೊಂಜಾಲೋ he says keener than your sees. Madam, keep quiet. My eyesight is keener than yours. My sight is very well. ನನ್ನ ಕಣ್ಣು ಬಹಳ ಚಲೋ ಅದ ಅಂತ ಇವನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. And Laura, yes, evidently. Evidently means I have the proof in front of me. We all know that to read a book, Gonzalo wore a spectacle and now he adjusted his reading glasses and now he is intended to read. So she said, yes, evidently, I have the proof. Evidently, I can see you can read the book without your glass or without your reading glass. ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಏನು ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳದೆ ಓದ್ಲಿಕ್ಕತ್ತಿ ಅಂತನೂ ನನಗೂ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕತ್ತದ ಅಂತ ಅದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಮತ್ತೆ ರಿಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಲು. Gonzalo, ask the hares and partridges. For this, Gonzalo says that ask the hares and partridges. Hare, it is rabbit like an animal, then partridge is a bird. You can understand here these two are very small in appearance. To hunt these two things, you need sharp eyesight, very well eyesight. So, indirectly, Gonzalo makes the mention that ask the hares and partridges for my eyesight, whether they are keen or not. You can get better answer from from hares and partridges. That means he said that I do hunting. They are the evidence. This is not, but they are the evidence. He said, for this Laura, oh, you hunt. She is being surprised. She exclaims, ah, do you hunt with this reading glass and with this enormous pair of glasses? How can you hunt? ನಿನಗೆ ಕಣ್ಣಿಗೆ ಅವೆರಡೂ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಓದ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಹಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಬೇರೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀಯೇನು ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು. And this for this Gonzalo, I did and even now. That means I did previously and even now, even till today I do hunt. Hunting ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ದ. Laura, yes of course. Yes of course. One more thing you should remember here, Gonzalo drags his feet. Now you can understand with spectacles and with the dragging feet, it is impossible to hunt. You can hunt if you are comfortable position, if you are in a comfortable position, very well position with your physique. That is what she mentioned here. Yes, of course, I can see everything is evident. How can you hunt with your dragging feet and with your glasses? For this Gonzalo replied, yes, Senora, yes, madam, every Sunday. He is giving an example for his hunting. Every Sunday I do take my gun and dog. You understand? He is making clear. I do take my gun and dog. You understand? And go to one of my estates near Arawaka and kill time. Here, you should listen to the words very carefully. What he said is, every Sunday I take my gun and dog. Every Sunday, what he does, this Gonzalo, he takes his gun and dog. That means he has a gun. He takes his gun and dog. You understand that which is meant for hunting, and go to one of my estates. Where does he go? He goes to one of his estates nearby Arawaka. Arawaka, it is a neighborhood of the city of Madrid. Nearby Madrid, he goes to Arawaka and he concludes his statement with the words, kill time. Killing time is different from hunting. Killing time means spending time. Time pass ಅಂತ ನೀವೇನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ, that is called kill time. Here he mentions that I do kill time. For this, Laura replies, yes, kill time. That is all you kill. That means you can kill time, but not any hare or partridge. She is so clever. She catches everything so quickly and comments and criticizes on his actions. He said, yes, kill time. That is all you kill. Gonzalo, do you think so? That means, do you believe me? Do you believe my words? That you think that I cannot kill any animal there? I could show you. Now Gonzalo is interested to give an evidence to Laura to believe that he can hunt. ಅವನ್ ಹಂಟಿಂಗಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ಎವಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ತಯಾರಾಗಿದ್ದ. ಈಗ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಐ ಕುಡ್ ಶೋ ಯು ಅ ವೈಲ್ಡ್ ಬೋರ್ಸ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈ ಸ್ಟಡಿ. ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟಡಿ ರೂಮ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಐ ಕುಡ್ ಶೋ ಯು ಅ ವೈಲ್ಡ್ ಬೋರ್ಸ್ ಹೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈ ಸ್ಟಡಿ. ಗೋನ್ಜಾಲೋ ಇಸ್ ರೆಡಿ ಟು ಶೋ ಹರ್ ಅ ವೈಲ್ಡ್ ಬೋರ್ಸ್ ಹೆಡ್. ವೈಲ್ಡ್ ಬೋರ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಅ ಪಿಗ್. ಒಂದು ವೈಲ್ಡ್ ಬೋರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಹಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ನೀಡ್ಸ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್. ಯು ಆಲ್ ಶುಡ್ ನೋ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ನೀಡ್ಸ್ ಅ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್. That our character, that is Gonzalo, he drags his feet. You can understand here. He said, I can show you a wild boar's head in my study. For this, Laura said, yes, I could show you a tiger's skin in my bodier. Even she is ready. Bodier means a woman's private room. So she said that for this, when Gonzalo said he can show her a wild boar's head in his study, so this Laura is ready to show him a tiger's skin in her bodier, in her private room. What does that prove? You can purchase it from anywhere. That means she indirectly said him that you cannot kill anything except time. ಟೈಮ್ ಅನ್ನ ಈ ಕಿಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ನಿನ್ನಿಂದ ಅಂತಂದು ಆಕೆಯಲ್ಲೇ ಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಳೆ. ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಗೋನ್ಜಾಲೋ ಸೇಡ್, ವೆರಿ ವೆಲ್ ಸೆನೋರಾ. Very well, Senora. Please allow me to read enough conversation. Now, Gonzalo is not ready to continue any argument with Laura. These conversation has spent a lot of or wasted a lot of time for me. Let me continue with my reading. For this, Laura, again she comments, well, you subside then. You subside then. You subside then means you can keep quiet and continue with your reading. That means she is not interested to keep herself quiet. She asks Gonzalo to keep away, to keep quiet, to keep away from the argument. So she said, well, you subside then for this Gonzalo. But first, you can observe here with the conversations, Gonzalo is polite, even though this lady, this handsome lady, is making very sharp criticisms on his actions. He is not bothered for, he is not cared for, he didn't mind it. ಏನೂ ತಲೆ ಕೆಡಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. Still he says that, but first I shall take a pinch of snuff, a pinch of snuff. Takes out snuff box. Will you have some? Here, Gonzalo requests Laura whether she would like to have some snuff. Snuff. Here you should remember in the past days, your grandparents may have used the same box. It is powder of tobacco. It can clear the head if they inhale it. It can clear the head if they inhale it. So here Gonzalo said that before continuing with his reading, he would like to have a pinch of snuff. A pinch means very small amount of snuff, and he takes out his snuff box. Will you have some? Offers the box to Donna Laura. Offering the box, he keeps the box in front of her, whether she is interested to have a pinch of snuff there. Laura, if it is good, if it is good means if it really clears the head, then only I am interested to have, she said. Gonzalo, it is of the finest. See his expression here. Here, Gonzalo confirms that it is of a good thing. It is one of the finest. You will like it. If you try it for one time, you will like it and you will like to have another time too. So, for his expression, Laura taking a pinch of snuff. She agrees to have a pinch of snuff. It clears my head. That means you can see how enthusiastic she is, how she want to get relaxed after taking a snuff, pinch of snuff. So she said here that while taking a pinch of snuff, it clears my head. It makes me feel light. It makes me feel comfortable in this morning, in these mornings. Gonzalo and mine. And mine means even it can clear my head too. I will be more comfortable after taking a pinch of snuff. Donna Laura, do you sneeze? You should remember here, after taking a pinch of snuff, you will start sneezing continuously. So here, Lara, she's so curious and she's so eager to sneeze. She asked Gonzalo, do you sneeze? After taking a pinch of snuff, do you sneeze? She asked Gonzalo. And Gonzalo, yes, Senora, 3 times. You can see how innocently he is answering to Laura's question. Gonzalo said that, yes, I sneeze for 3 times. ಮೂರು ಸರಿ ನಾನು ಸೀನ್ ಬರ್ತದ ಅಂತಂದು ಮನು ಕೂಡ ಹೇಳ್ದ. And Laura, and so do I. And so do I means even I do sneeze for 3 times. What a coincidence. Here, you can see the conversations between Laura and Gonzalo. Previous conversations were so furious and so fuzzy, and it was a kind of quarrel between these two characters. When Gonzalo mentioned about a pinch of snuff which can clear their head, that made the peace between these two furious characters. So he is telling here, Laura mentions, what a coincidence, how surprising it is that you do sneeze for 3 times and even I do, even so do I. ನನಗೂ 3 ಸರಿ ಸೀನ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ ನಿನಗೂ 3 ಸರಿ ಸೀನ್ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. After taking the snuff, what is happening there in the play? After taking the snuff, they await. See, they await curiously. They are waiting the sneezes. Scene ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದು ಇಬ್ರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕತ್ತಾರ. Now they took pinch of snuff and they are awaiting for sneezes. Both anxiously and sneeze alternately 3 times each. See what happened here. It is the way how they had the peace between. Here you will be asked 4-mark question. What makes, for 1 mark, one word answer, what made the peace between these two characters? That is a pinch of snuff. And for 4 marks, you have to elaborate the scene here for the answer. Here, what happened in the play? After taking the snuff, they await the sneezes, both anxiously and sneeze alternately 3 times each. They sneezed for 3 times. And Gonzalo, there, I feel better. After sneezing for 3 times, Gonzalo mentions that he is feeling better and comfortable for reading. Then this Laura mentions, so do I. So do I means even I am feeling comfortable, better after sneezing for 3 times. Aside, aside, for herself, she said, the snuff has made peace between us. This Laura realized after having this conversation, after having a very peaceful conversation, she feels this snuff has made peace between them. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೇನೋ ಒಂದು ವಾತಾವರಣ ಕಂಫರ್ಟೇಬಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಲಾರಾ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಳೆ. ದೆನ್ ಗೋನ್ಜಾಲೋ, ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಕ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮೀ ಇಫ್ ಐ ರೀಡ್ ಅಲೌಡ್. Now, Gonzalo is feeling comfortable to talk to Laura just like a friend, even though they don't know each other. But previously, you can observe this Gonzalo was not even interested to sit with the lady. Now he is asking her if she excuses him, he is interested to read aloud. ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಓದ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಾ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೇನು ತೊಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಂತಂದಲ್ಲ ಅವನು ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ದೆನ್ ಲೋರಾ, read as loud as you please. See her answer. As she said, read as loud as you please. You will not disturb me. You can read as loud as you please. ನಿನ್ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ಜೋರಾಗಿ ಓದ್ಬೋದು. That won't disturb me. That she makes herself clear. Till now, whatever Gonzalo does, that was a kind of disturbance for Laura because as he accidentally scared away the birds who were feeding. So now, after taking a pinch of snuff, Laura mentions that he will not disturb even if he reads loudly. And Gonzalo reading. Now, Gonzalo starts reading. Now, Gonzalo reads the book. Reading. Now, we are listeners here directly. All love is sad, but sad as it is the best thing that we know. That is from Campbell. Gonzalo reads 2 lines from the poem. That is from Campbell. Campbell is a writer of Spanish. Here you should remember whatever the writer comes whatever the writer is being referred here in the text, in the play, that refers to Spanish writers. They are all Spanish writers. He reads the line, what Campbell said. All love is sad, but sad as it is the best thing that we know. In simple words, Campbell said that all love is sad, though the best thing we do know is that love. A love ಅಂತಂದು ಎಷ್ಟೇ sad ಆಗಿದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ we all know only one beautiful thing, that is love. Maybe it is sad, just like in the first unit that we all read of Romeo and Juliet. Even though they meet death, that was a sad love story from Shakespeare. But what we enjoy, what we do think is their love is permanent. We do think of their love. That is beautiful. How beautifully Romeo thinks of Juliet. How beautifully she makes him immortal. That is called love. The same thing here, Campbell said that all love is sad. But sad as it is the best thing that we know. Tonalora. Ah, she's surprised to listen to the words. Then Gonzalo continues reading. The daughters of the mothers I once loved kiss me now as they would a graven image. They would a graven image. These lines, I take it, are in a humorous way. Here, the continuation of the poem, the same line goes on. As Gonzalo said, the daughters of the mothers I once loved. In the previous days, Gonzalo is reminding by giving example of these poetical lines. Gonzalo is trying to mention these one character. If in these lines, Gonzalo says that previously I loved many women, not Gonzalo, but the character of the poem that is being written by this Campbell. He is telling that I have loved a lot of women when I was young. Now they got married and they have children too. ಈಗ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮದುವೆ ಆಗಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಕೂಡ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. And now those children kiss me whenever I meet them. That makes me to think, that makes me to realize that those old lovers has graven an image of me in a good manner. ನನ್ನ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವ್ರ ಮುಂದೆ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಅತಿ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ರೀತಿಯೊಳಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ಯಾರ. So they love me a lot. ಯಾರು? The daughters of those mothers, that means old lovers, but their children too love me now. He mentions here those lines, I take it, are in a humorous vein, humorous manner. I consider these lines in a humorous manner. Laura, laughing. I take them so too. I take them so too means I do consider those lines in a humorous manner. Let me stop here and we'll continue with the left part in the next class. Thank you.